he who can spend the most money to get a customer wins. A lot of the small guys can't do that. You don't just go, let's just crank up our marketing budget. You look at where your gaps are in the conversion and say, this isn't gonna get cheaper, so I need to make this more efficient.
Companies spend thousands and thousands of dollars to generate leads, but when it comes to converting those leads, there seems to be a pain point industry-wide. Chirp automates that follow-up from a minute a lead becomes a lead, all the way to post-job. We're helping the company increase lead conversion, create efficiency in their business, and make the most of their marketing spend.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the Now What series. I have the pleasure of sitting here with Ryan Fenn, CEO and founder of Chirp, and Justin Judd, the VP of Sales and Partnerships. Guys, welcome. We've been at FieldPulse for about a day and a half now, but thank you guys for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So just the quick intro, where are you guys from originally? Where are you located now?
I'm originally from California. I grew up in California. I moved to Utah about 14 years ago with my newborn son, and I've been there ever since.
I am from Orem, Utah.
Born and raised.
Born and raised, now in American Fork, Utah, which is like 10 minutes north.
Your tone makes it sound like a great place.
Well,
I am from
Utah's a good place.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful for sure. Some of the pictures you guys have been showing me over the last day or two has been it's ridiculous. So kind of diving into the background of you guys. So specifically you, Ryan, before founding Chirp, what was your professional background?
So I've always been just very entrepreneurial. I actually didn't finish high school, so I don't have like traditional training. I've just kind of been out hustling and figuring stuff out. And I started a windshield repair business actually 15 years ago now. And we did really well with it. My brother and I ran that business. We did well with it. We got into different locations and scaled it to about 9 locations. And then I got the idea to start a online course on how to run your own windshield repair business.
Interesting.
Because like I said, I love entrepreneurship. It's what I'm very passionate about. And so I wanted to help entrepreneurs. It was kind of a dream of mine to help more entrepreneurs discover things. Hey, I've discovered this cool business opportunity. I want to show other people. And through that, actually learning how to market that effectively and use automation to grow that business was really how this whole thing started. So I don't actually have a professional background, but
you made your profession basically with it. Yeah.
Made it on.
Kind of staying on the entrepreneurship side of things, just kind of generic, like what advice would you give to entrepreneurs, whether they're starting a window repair company, if they're starting a software company, or any other kind, like what advice would you give them?
My advice would be, don't listen to anybody's advice.
That's good.
Including that.
Yeah.
No, for me, like entrepreneurship is very much an art. I kind of say there's as many ways to make money as there are different personalities in the world. Mm-hmm. And so what may work for somebody else is probably not going to work for you. Mm-hmm. And so just keep discovering what that thing is about you that will drive, enterprise, that will drive business. Like some guys are really good at running restaurants, and some guys try to start a restaurant and they fall on their face. And so I wouldn't say, hey, this guy's doing this, I'm going to copy that. It's like, find what you're good at, not necessarily what you're passionate about, but what you're good at, and then find passion within that.
Yeah. It's kind of like the trial and error. Like it's not like a one shoe fits all. You got to actually make the mistakes to then find the success.
Yeah. And just keep going. If you look at my journey, everything I did has built on the previous thing. So I can say that the windshield business helped me in this business. And it seems a far jump, right? Where it's like I did windshields and now I'm a software company owner. But if you look at the journey, it made sense. And I learned from each thing and built on it. Yeah. So take your failures and stack them up as learning, as things you can learn from and move on.
Would you say there's anything coming after Chirp? Like, is there anything next on your mind, you think?
Yeah, for sure. I'm never gonna, I consider myself like I love creating. Yeah. And so creativity is always the thing. And it's like, okay, the windshield repair business helped me get into the online digital course space. Yeah. The course space helped me get into the software world. Mm-hmm. Now, what's the next thing? It's like, I don't necessarily know what that is, but it's going to be bigger than whatever it is I'm doing now.
It's exciting. So, yeah.
Can I step in and talk a little bit about?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say your questions are next, but if you got a point, go for it.
I was just going to touch on what he said a little bit. So I've never started my own business. Mm-hmm. So I may not be an entrepreneur in that sense, but I have a gift for going into businesses when they're startups and small and helping grow those businesses. Mm-hmm. So the one piece of advice I would give is work on your mindset. Mm-hmm. Everything starts with mindset. Yeah. So many times in life or in business, we have challenges that come up and problems that come up, and we look outside of ourselves to solve those things. And when we start working on our mindset, those things naturally resolve themselves.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, because I know you guys talk a lot about mindset, especially on your own. It's not the Chirp podcast, but you know what I mean. And I think that's one misconception, especially nowadays with things like TikTok. Like you see these quick clips from podcasts where these guys are like, "You want to make $1 million? Like every morning, wake up, think about $1 million, and in a month you'll have it." And it's like, that's. I at least I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I don't think that's what you mean. It's just like your mindset has to be like, I'm going to win today. Here's how I'm going to do it. And then the next day you say, I'm going to win today. This is how I'm going to do it. So it's not like this like life hack where it's like you can just manifest everything. But at the same time, if you have that mindset every day where you're like, today's going to suck and whatever, it's probably going to suck.
Yeah. You still need to visualize. You need to put the goal out there, but then you go into action. Yeah. That's the next step that a lot of people don't do.
Yeah. Well, and I had seen a thing where it's like, we're getting really deep, but it's like kind of changing some neural pathways in your head. Is every morning you wake up and you look in the mirror and you say something confident to yourself 10 times, whether that's like, I love you, I believe in you, like today's going to be a good day. It's like, if you do that every single morning, eventually like it actually starts helping. You start believing that you are more positive, more motivational, kind of person. So
yeah, words matter. Words are powerful. The way that you talk to yourself is powerful. Here's a universal principle that you can use to literally change your life. Yeah. What follows I am follows you. Mm.
Oh, that took me a second.
I am bad with money. Well, guess what?
Probably gonna be bad.
You're going to be bad with money. Yeah. I am good with money. You start looking for ways to be good with money. Yeah. What follows I am follows awesome. You.
Love that. So a little bit about your background. I know you've been in sales pretty much for better half of 20 years. Kind of go into what first attracted you into the career of sales, and how did your early roles kind of set the stage for where you are today, sitting at the FieldPulse headquarters?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being totally transparent about where I kind of learned that I had a gift for sales, I served an LDS mission. Mm-hmm. I went to another country for 2 years. I went to France and Belgium. That's awesome. And you're there to teach people about, the church, the gospel, whatever you want to call it. But Europe is a hard place to convert people. Very stubborn. They're born Catholic and they're going to die Catholic. And please don't take that the wrong way. That was just kind of my...
It just means that's how they were born. That's how they were raised. That's how they're probably going to die.
It's a hard sell.
Yeah.
And your average missionary baptizes, I think it was like 1.2 people while they're on a 2-year mission out there. Wow. And I baptized 36 people while I was out there, which is it's kind of unheard of. But it just made me realize that I had a gift for being able to talk to people and connect with people and kind of relay my beliefs to people. Yeah. And so that's where the idea was born that, man, I could probably make a living out of this. And it's kind of been on from there. Started selling golf clubs at a golf store, and I did really well there, and then ended up getting into software.
Yeah. Well, and then you've also kind of taken on this role of partnerships as well, because obviously I'm in partnerships and you and I have had, I'd say, predominantly most of the conversations. So has this, kind of been your first step into partnerships at Chirp as a whole? And if it isn't, or even if it is, like, what kind of challenges have you faced that you've seen are different than in sales? Because I think sales is pretty clear to some degree, maybe to bad managers, but I didn't say that. But it's like, if you don't hit your number, you're bad at sales, so I don't mean it like that. But have you seen the challenges be different in the role of like kind of managing partnerships as opposed to sales?
Yeah, absolutely. There's some challenges that come with it. But to answer the first part of your question, yeah, this is my first time being in partnerships. I actually love it. Yeah. Because I'm good at connecting with people.
It's the relationships.
It's the relationship side of it.
Still sales.
It's still sales. Quick story. We knew we had a good product, but we didn't know how to get it out there. We were a lean team, and we had the option to either try to sell Chirp to one contractor at a time or start a partnership program.
Yeah.
And Ryan and I got together, and I think we were inspired to go with the partnership program. This is kind of going back to the mindset stuff, but we had a small whiteboard in our office. We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. This industry is really interesting because it is full of partnerships. I always say it's the biggest, smallest industry I've ever seen because it's huge, and it's wild how many HVAC, electrical, plumbing companies there are. But dude, everybody knows everyone.
Yep.
Like they all know each other, and there's tons of best practice groups. So anyways, we did some research, and on that whiteboard, we wrote up every single partnership that we wanted to be a part of. There was over 40 of them. And 2.5 years later, we're a part of all of those partnerships. And we were creating a vision board, and we didn't even realize it. Like I had done vision boards in the past with houses that I wanted and cars that I wanted and vacations that I wanted to go on. But we had created a vision board within the office, and we would mark on that board every single day, and we would work towards those goals. And 2.5 years later, we've built this partnership program that has really built the business.
It's that mindset, baby.
It's the mindset, bro. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love partnerships. I love building relationships with the partners. I like it more than sales because it's a long-term thing. When you get on a sales call with someone, you can still build a relationship with them, but after the sale's done, you're not really going to be connecting with that contractor anymore. Yeah. When it comes to partnerships, I'm in contact with these partners all the time. I'm nurturing those relationships. I get to see them at events. We get to know each other and actually become friends, and that's what I really like about it. Do you want me to get into the challenge, or do you have to go ahead?
All I was going to comment on that was like, I definitely agree with you, because I know it's like, if I'm not at FieldPulse for the rest of my career, right? If I go somewhere else, but stay somewhat in the industry, if we go to an event and I see you guys, it's going to be like,
yeah,
what's up? It's not going to be like, oh, you're a client I sold to. It's going to be like, oh my God, those are the boys that came by, and we got to hang out, and we established a good working like partnership. And it's like more than that. So it's like, I'm the same as you. Yeah, yep. Absolutely. So yeah, I know I slightly cut you off there, but yeah, some of the challenges that you've had to overcome being in the partnership role, would you say? I have a fair few of my own, so I kind of want to compare here, see what you have.
I think the challenge for me is just that, like, I like to think I have a good character, and I like to think one of the reasons I'm good at partnerships is because partners like me and they trust me.
Yeah.
And if there's ever an issue with that partnership on the opposite side of the company, whether that be in, support or onboarding or CSM, wherever it is, sales, I now kind of like feel the responsibility to make sure that partner gets taken care of.
Yeah.
And it can cause some challenges.
There starts to become a political challenge where this is something early on we didn't really have a grasp on, where it's like you partner with multiple, let's say we partner with some marketing companies, and we do a post about one marketing company. The other companies are going, hey, wait a second. Why didn't you post about us? And we kind of think like, oh, I didn't think about it. I was just posting because about this thing that I saw, and it reminded me of these guys. And so he's like, oh, I didn't think about that. And it's like, now you start to get this like game where you're like, okay, I got to make sure if I'm going to do something about this. I got to make sure it's balanced among the partnership.
I'm glad you brought that up, because definitely a challenge that like myself and some of the guys on the partner team, it's like you have to find like a nurturing balance.
Oh,
Like I don't mean to call like partners like the children or whatever, but it's like understandably, like to your point, like if you do one thing for one company, the other four are going like, you know, why am I getting? And you're like, hey, no, well, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do. And then it's like you got to like do damage control, and then it's just the same thing. They're like, well, can you do this for us? And we're like, well, what about that? It gets like, it gets annoyingly.
You don't ever want to tell you, it's like, this is our favorite partnership.
Yeah.
You're trying to build up this one partnership, and then everybody's like, wait a second, we're not your favorite. So.
There's a strategy to it.
Yeah, 100%. So kind of now switching gears a little bit into the Chirp story itself. How, as broad as I can make this, how did Chirp first come to be?
So after I had success with my course, so I built that course, which is how to start your own windshield repair business. And I used Facebook ads to generate leads for that business. And then I would text those leads when they would come in. And
I see the seeds already.
Manually.
Kinda, yeah.
And then I started to see that, like, man, that was really effective. If I texted the leads very quickly, they texted back, and I would have a conversation with them, and then I would get them on a call, and we would, you know, discuss this opportunity. And so then I started to piece together different softwares to kind of create this automation process, to create this sales funnel, this follow-up. You know, everybody's focused on lead generation. I was worried about lead conversion. I kind of had the lead generation part figured out. I wanted to make sure I was converting at the highest level, and I was starting to piece these together. And it got to the point where we were really, really well oiled, where I would run an ad and they would go through an entire automation system, and they would watch a pre-recorded webinar, an evergreen webinar, and then they would book a call, and then we would close the deal. So everything was automated all the way up to the booked call.
Mm-hmm.
And we would just turn up the ad spend, you know? And so that process, I was like, man, that works really well. So I need to build something for other businesses, because I wanted to go bigger.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then so at what point when you were building all this, did you go, wait, hold on, there's something here with the field service space? Because I feel like it's almost like kind of like a secondary idea. It's like people feel like they need to go like full white collar. It's like, but you look at the home service space industry, it's like you got some phenomenal businessmen in that area, but at the same time, they miss out on a lot of stuff because they aren't aware. So how did you kind of navigate the idea of like the field service space and what we need to focus on?
Yeah. So we built Chirp. So we had this idea, right? Let's build this software. I started building the software. I partnered with an engineer to build to do the code. And we just started building this software, and it was not initially for home services. It was just like any business that could use this, we'll sell it to them, right? And we were selling to everybody, real estate agents and restaurants and insurance agents and MLM people and all, you know. And the problem we were running into was we didn't have a cohesive brand message.
Yeah. And
when a realtor would come up, we'd say, oh, it's working really well for this guy over here who's a dentist. And then he goes, I don't relate to what a dentist is doing. Tell me what other realtors are doing or whatever, you know? Yeah. And it wasn't until some home service guys saw it, started using it, and were having success. And then they introduced us to their field service management platform, and said, hey, if you integrated here, we can make some really cool stuff happen. Yeah. And so we built these integrations. And that's when we just like took off.
Or was it kind of like the light bulb?
The light bulb went off, and we're like, okay. And so we scrapped everything outside of home service. We said we are focused on building this for home services. And that was 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And it was from then on, Chirp was a home service, serving the home service space. And so our focus since then has been to build the deepest and best integrations into the existing field service management platform, so that we can create these funnels, these automated follow-up funnels, to run automatically within their businesses. Yeah. So.
What is kind of the elevator pitch, would you say, for Chirp? Like one of the things that you always want to get the point across when you're talking to them?
So one of the biggest challenges that we see facing home service companies looking to scale comes down to lead conversion. Companies spend thousands and thousands of dollars to generate leads, But when it comes to converting those leads at the highest level, there seems to be a pain point industry wide.
Yeah.
And so it's lack of follow-up.
Yeah.
So Chirp automates that follow-up from a minute a lead becomes a lead all the way to post-job, where we're helping the company increase lead conversion, create efficiency in their business, and make the most of their marketing spend.
I love that. Well, I also think you guys, I mean, obviously, because you're doing.
Hey, that was really good.
That's
You won't get fired now. No. It's like you guys timed it, I think, extremely well, specifically because now we live in a world where everything is just, we want this, we want this, we want it right now. So the fact that you guys were able to build a product to where it's like homeowners, if they reach out and want to get, service on their HVAC unit, whatever, if they hear back within 30 seconds, they're going like, this is great. Because if it's 5 minutes, they're already impatient.
5 minutes is a lifetime for a lead.
Yeah.
I've been touting this study for years now, and I know it's only gotten worse. So it's probably been 8 or 9 years that Salesforce did this study, maybe longer. I don't know when it was done, but they did a study that showed that it was across millions of form fills, like on a website fill out form. If the business didn't contact the lead within a minute, the chances of converting dropped off by double by the second minute, and then double again by the third, or half, however you want to look at that. The point is, it's decreasing dramatically within that first 3 minutes. And we've now gone through COVID, where people's brains have completely shifted to, a totally digital,
like contactless or whatever
we are so oversaturated with entertainment.
Yeah.
TikTok, all the reels. We see so much, and we're so distracted that if they show interest in something and we don't get to them very fast, we're losing them.
Yeah.
So that's the first part of the customer journey, is that speed to lead. So we say, hey, if somebody's raising their hand, we got to contact them within 30 seconds, or they're gonna go to the next one. We miss a call, 30 seconds. They fill out a form on our website, 30 seconds. They fill out an Angie lead, a Facebook lead form, whatever it is, whatever lead form. If we're not there to, fulfill that need, we're a commodity, right? HVAC. There's another HVAC guy that's going to do the job.
Exactly. Well, and kind of diving now into a little bit of lead generation as well as the lead conversion, because I know it's a big piece for you guys. This is probably a very deep question, so I'll let you guys answer it how you want, but
we ain't scared.
Oh no, dude, we like to get deep.
I know we learned when we were at lunch yesterday, we definitely had some nice deep conversations. Yeah.
So I want you to answer this question, but my mind's on something, and I know I always go back to mindset, but it's because of what I'm constantly always thinking about. But Ryan shared his story. So it was 4 years before you guys found a product market fit?
Yes, 3 or 4 years of struggling to find that product market fit.
So in regards to your entrepreneurial question, don't give up, right? Because rarely are you going to start something and instantly you've just have the perfect fit. Him and his brother that's sitting right there started it and tried to sell it to just about anybody and everybody that they could. The one thing they didn't do is they didn't give up.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, if you don't give up, you can't fail. You might take some losses, but you're not going to fail long term. So
last thing I'll say on this, wasn't the KFC guy like 72? Like when, you know what I mean? Like when he created it, like,
was he really?
Yeah, I know it's kind of
it's
like kind of a goofy example, but it's like he was 72 when he started that thing.
Yeah, you just keep going.
It's still going. So yeah. So talking about lead generation, but also lead conversion, what would you say the biggest challenge facing the field service companies for lead gen and lead conversion? What would you say? So
this is really important to note, because we see a ton of money pouring into the home service space from private equity. There's a huge shift in the world going on right now, where blue collar guys are becoming the white collar guys. I mean, there was just an article in the Wall Street Journal about the new millionaire class is blue collar. And so private equity groups are recognizing this, and they're rolling up everybody. They're rolling up all these, HVAC companies. We work with a ton of private equity groups. Now, here's the problem that presents is private equity groups have very patient money, and they can spend a lot more to get a customer than a mom and pop shop can. Okay, they're willing to spend hundreds of dollars on an ad to get one customer, whereas the mom and pop guy can't do that. Yeah. So it goes back to what Gary Vaynerchuk says. He who can spend the most money to get a customer wins, right? Because I can spend the most on Google ads, I can spend the most on Facebook ads, and I can be patient and say, I'm gonna lose money this first year so that I can make money for the next 30 years, right? A lot of the small guys can't do that. And so ad costs and marketing is getting more and more expensive. And it's not gonna ever get cheaper. So what do you have to do? You don't just go, let's just crank up our marketing budget. You look at where your gaps are in the conversion and say, what can I do with what I'm already getting? Can I get more? If you have a 50% conversion rate, that means you have 50% of opportunity. Focus on that 50 becoming 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Nobody's ever gonna get to 100% maybe. Shouldn't say that. Maybe somebody will. Yeah. But if you're not at 100%, you have room to improve. And so you should be looking at that going, okay, this isn't gonna get cheaper, so I need to make this more efficient.
Would you say kind of starting out some of these companies when they want to grow it, but obviously they have the less spend, right? Do you think having a better ratio of closing those leads as opposed to getting more leads is more important? And what I mean by that is it better to get 100 leads and 20 close, or is it better to get 20 leads but 18 of them?
It's going to come down to budget for sure, because if you're willing to blow through to learn, because you're going to have to learn. Yeah. And so if you're willing to blow through budget to learn fast, that's okay. But if you can't afford that, you need to focus on conversion efforts, because at the end of the day, what matters is how much money you made, profit, right? But to a degree, it's like, well, there's a finite number of leads in your area. Mm-hmm. And so you need to be focused on both. Obviously, you need to get lead generation. You need to really, you can't just go one's more important than the other. You have to be working on lead generation. Yeah. But the problem that a lot of people had, especially pre-COVID, was the problem that we have is pre-COVID, it was easier. It was like I could kind of disregard leads because I had so many coming. Yeah. I didn't have to put as much effort into them, and so I could go, well, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep going. That guy didn't close, but there's more leads on the table. Mm-hmm. And now we're at a point where it's like, hey, that's starting to slow down. You need to make the most out of what you got.
So Chirp isn't necessarily a lead generation tool. That's usually going to be a marketing agency, SEO, PPC, LSA, Google.
Yeah. Angie, thumbtack, modernize.
That being said, Chirp has a lead generation solution. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is kind of like he was talking about, leads are getting more and more expensive. Mm-hmm. Well, what we see all the time is, as the contractor, go look in your FSM. How many customers do you already have sitting in there? And how long has it been since you've touched them? Yeah. And if you have touched them, what we see is it's normally just been through email. Yeah. And email definitely has its place, and you can still do email through Chirp. Mm-hmm. But if you're ever slow and you need to get some jobs on the board, mm-hmm. text messaging just converts higher. Yeah. And dude, you've already paid for those customers. You already have those leads. Mm-hmm. So start remarketing to your existing database of customers, because there's a gold mine.
And man, I'm so glad you brought that up, because my next question was, I think it's from y'all sites, is 80% of customers would prefer a text to a call. Why? Why do you think that is
low? Yeah. That's like a conservative.
Right. Well, either way, why do you think that is?
Everybody, so texting is the...
People don't like to talk on the phone anymore.
Yes, yeah. That's what it is. That's truth. But it's because texting is, as much as we maybe don't like, it's like, it is good to talk on the phone. We want that. Texting is the easiest and most simplified form of communication. And so it's the least friction. It causes the least anxiety. It's the fastest. All the things add up. So right now, so yes, we are we use texting as the primary point of automation within our business, primary point of communication. Mm-hmm. But we're not a texting platform. We're an automation platform. What I mean by that is, texting right now is the number one way to communicate with your clients. Not necessarily close deals, but to get them to get on the phone, it's usually through a text conversation. Kay, can I call you? And you go through that text conversation. Where was I going with this? So the 98% read rate is the key, right? Because you get 98% versus an email, which is going to have 25, 30%. You got a phone call, 25, 30% will actually answer the phone. Text message, you get 98%. Now with that, so that's why we're focused on the automation of that. Now, if something comes out in the future that's better than texting, Chirp will automate that.
Right.
But for now,
Until
it's
then,
texting, and we know it's the best because we get the highest rates, conversion, everything. And everybody knows it. If Justin will say, pull out your phone. You guys can do this exercise. Pull out your phone. How many missed emails do you have? How many unopened text messages do you have? Probably 0. Most people. There's always some weird guy that has like 3,000 unopened text
I know exactly what you're talking about too. Yeah.
but most people, it's like they refuse to have even one unopened text message.
And we always recommend that you still have some personal touch along with the automation. You know, a couple of phone calls from the sales guys that went out and gave the estimate or whatever it was. But again, like, how many times do you not answer a call if you're not 100% sure who it is?
Well, that happened on the drive back from lunch, as you guys saw in my truck. Like
every time
it was there, and I was just like, I don't know who's from Arizona, so if it's important, they'll leave a voicemail.
And you bring up a good point, because we really want to differentiate between text message marketing and text message automation. Text message marketing is not what I mean, you can do that, what I'm going to explain. You can do it through Chirp, but it's not what we're really pitching here. Text message marketing is 20% off the next 10 people that respond. It's got a 3-digit short code or 6-digit short code phone number. You can't respond to it, have a conversation. And it's kind of spammy and lame. You know, that would be text message marketing. Text message automation, where we're talking about scaling communication, is just like Justin and I, or you and I, would text back and forth. We're just doing it on a bigger scale. So I can send out a message to 100 people, the same message that I would send to you. And then when you respond, I can carry on that conversation, or I can have AI kind of nurture that conversation a little bit. But either way, it's not about blasting and spamming and marketing to these people. It's about scaling authenticity. It's about scaling communication. And it's just making you a superhuman. Instead of, you can text one person at a time, if you want to sit through 100 people and text 100 people, or we can write that message, personalize it, send it out, and then have those conversations. Just makes you better.
And I also think what's going to be really cool with what we're going to do together is the fact that you can include like the booking portal link for your company on there too. So then I'm imagining myself as like an HVAC, business owner or plumber. And, I know leads are coming in, we've got these texts coming out, and I keep looking at my days and I just keep getting more and more things added and added and added because they've gone into that booking portal just from the automated text that went out.
So a text will go out, right? Somebody will see you. Maybe they'll fill out a form, maybe they'll call, whatever it is, and maybe you missed the call, maybe it's an abandoned call or whatever it is. They didn't book, we didn't get them, we didn't close the deal, whatever, or they did fill out a form. That text goes out and it has that link. Now we're eliminating the need to spend time, actual human time, to get them to book. We can create the relationship and continue that on. But that part, we've eliminated that need, because a text will go out and say, hey, we're sorry we missed your call. Would you like to book here? Or do you have a question you need answered? Most of them will click and book, and you'll get a ton of bookings that way. But then when they do respond, you can have a normal conversation or whatever. But that just creates like, and people appreciate it so much because they're just like, oh, I didn't need to have a conversation right now. I can book and then tell them what I need, So
it's like the ease of use. If you
call it
that.
You're just making it easier.
It becomes really powerful, especially when you're spending a lot of money on lead aggregators like Angie, where that lead's going to 4 or 5 competitors. And right when that lead form is submitted, you're automating a text message to go out with a booking link in it. And people can book directly through that text message. It becomes extremely powerful.
Before they even receive a phone call from one of your competitors. It's like, they're not even gonna, it's like, you're way ahead of it.
So then in regards to the automated follow-up, kind of talking about that, that obviously can be I think it is pretty much one of the biggest differentiators for some of these home service businesses. It's y'all's time to shine. How does Chirp do it better than other platforms out there?
Well, most of your FSMs or your field service managed platforms, they're going to have some sort of basic functionality, texting functionality or whatever. And so I want to kind of encourage people to challenge that and say, because they'll sound and go, oh, well, I already have texting. It's like, you have some functionality. We're like, this is all we do. We are lead conversion. This is 100% of what we do. We've generated hundreds of millions of dollars for the biggest home service companies in the world. We have A1 Garage Door, Eco Plumbers, Service Champions. Some of the biggest brands you can think of use Chirp. And it's because we are much more robust and have much more capability to follow up at very specific points along the customer journey, where we look at your bucket that's leaking. It's got leaky holes. Where are your customers falling out of the process? And we're patching those holes, right? This can be at the beginning where we're contacting the leads very quickly, right? That's unique to us. We have the deepest integrations into the lead aggregators, into these different places. And then you have lead follow-up. Let's say a text goes out and they don't respond, and you call them and they don't get on the phone. Okay, that doesn't mean they're not a human being that needs the service. We got to follow up. So we're going to drip messages on them: text, email, voicemail, ringless voicemail. And these are various points of communication to just drive your message in further and get them to respond, to get them there. You've paid for this lead. Like, let's do the most we can to get it to respond, right? There's nothing worse than paying for a lead, calling it, and then you're like, it's like gambling. It's like just putting $1 into a
It almost
slot
feels
machine.
like the money goes in the bucket, and then you just see it kind of flutter away.
It's
And you're
like putting it in a slot machine, and it's like, no, you bought the lead, you've got the data, do the most you can with it. Yeah. Then from there, we're going to trigger it. Let's say they do get on, and you go out and you do an estimate for them, but they don't close. They don't always close. What most contractors do, what we find, is they're like, oh yeah, I follow up, I'll call once the next day, and maybe once again the third day, and then that's it. That's like the most we see people doing. Follow-up takes 7, 10, 15 touches to really get maximum conversion. And you're not going to sit there and call 7, 10, 15 times to all your estimates. You need a robot to do that work for you. And so Chirp will recognize when an estimate goes out. It'll recognize, and this is a big differentiator, it'll recognize what's in that estimate, the different things about it, the different, if it's tags or whatever, however you differentiate the amount or whatever. And you can choose different cadences, different follow-up sequences for different types of estimates. If you have a high ticket estimate, it's like, hey, I wanna, this is a big opportunity. I wanna make sure we really follow up. If it's a lower ticket thing that's, that may not, you don't want to be as aggressive, maybe just back off on the, so there's different levels of aggression, and that's probably not the best word. It sounds like
I get what you're saying.
It's like you want to be more aggressive on certain leads. And then we want to make sure we're also creating a good relationship, because these are people that we're going to do business with over and over again. So we want to make sure that we're sending out videos of us as the owner. Hey, thank you so much for booking with us. We appreciate it. I couldn't, as an owner, I can't call my every lead and go, thanks for booking, thanks for booking, thanks for booking. But I can send out a video of me saying thank you for booking and establish some human connection.
You break that down, that third wall a little bit of like, some stranger's about to come to my house and then try to do something to my HVAC unit. If you're going like, oh, okay, it's Justin is coming to my house and he owns Justin's HVAC.
This goes back to scaling authenticity, right?
Yeah.
As a mom and pop shop, it's easy because they're talking to every customer. But the moment you start to scale, you lose that personal touch.
So how would you then say businesses could ensure that the messages are staying authentic and don't come across like robot-y or AI?
When you're typing out these messages and creating these campaigns, you do it as if you're texting your friend. You don't think, okay, I'm gonna create like this really cool sales copy. It's like, no, just what would you say to your friend? Hey, thank you so much for booking with us. I really appreciate it. Watch this quick video about me. Click it. Hey, this is me and my wife. This is our home. This is our business. We've been in business for 15 years. We really appreciate you. We fully expect that our technician's going to give you 5-star service. If for any reason he doesn't, please let me know. Whatever. And and like overproduced stuff is not the idea here. We're talking like a selfie video. Hold up your phone and do a selfie video.
There is a level of trying to make it so authentic it comes across as fake.
Yeah, totally. You can totally cross that line of like, So just it's like, what's natural for you? What are you, get yourself in front of them and just go, because people are craving authenticity right now. They're craving real connections with real people.
Yeah.
And so if you can offer that at scale, you're going to win.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to touch on your question. What differentiates us or what makes us the best?
Mm-hmm.
I like to explain it like this. So I broke my fibula, tibula, and dislocated my ankle 7 months ago.
Great picture, by the way.
Yeah, you saw the picture. So my question is this: if you were to break your fibula, tibula, is it fibula, tibia? Either way, and dislocate your ankle to a 90-degree angle, would you go see a general practitioner to fix that? No, you got to go to a orthopedic specialist if you really want to get the best results. Chirp is lead conversion is all we do.
We're the orthopedic surgeons.
We are the lead conversion specialists.
You guys got to get a t-shirt that says that.
Our whole platform was designed to help companies convert more leads. Along with that is it comes with a team behind the software.
Yeah.
It's a differentiator for us. We pride ourselves on support. So we will build their campaigns. We'll set up the triggers to their FieldPulse software. We will connect to their lead sources for them. We make sure that they're using the software efficiently. So they are getting a best-in-class lead conversion software, and they are getting teamed up with a best-in-class lead conversion team to make sure that they're using it as efficiently as possible.
No, I love that. Going back to one of the things you said, and this is definitely more of a joke, but it just has been sitting in my head since you said it. When you were talking about, getting some of those leads, and if you get the lead and you lose it, it's kind of like you have a bucket with a bunch of holes in it. It's like, how can we fill those gaps? The first thing I thought of is you guys need to make your own version of those Flex Seal commercials, but have the Chirp logo. Be like, now that's a lot of damage. Bam! And just slap the logo on the.
That'd be cool.
And I had to get that out because it's been stuck in my head since you said it, but I thought that'd be funny. So, and you've brought up FSMs and some of the integrations that you guys have. So this one to you, Justin, as VP of Sales and Partnerships, you've obviously been pretty instrumental in getting the relationship of Chirp and FieldPulse, together. How did it come about? If you could explain it to people listening.
Yeah, it's a good question. So Tommy Mello, he owns A1 Garage Door. He's a partner in Chirp. He has a best practice group that contractors can go to learn how to grow their business. It's called Home Service Freedom. One of the members of his group, his name's Trenton McKinn. Shout out, Trenton. Thanks for the connection.
I was gonna say, yeah, we owe this to Trent because I got to email him. So Trent, thank you, man.
Is it Good Times Good Time? I don't remember the name of the company. Sorry, Trenton. But anyway, shout out Trenton. But he made the connection. He heard about Chirp at one of the Home Service Freedom events. And he used FieldPulse and found out that we weren't integrated. He loved FieldPulse and talked it up. Actually ended up introducing me to a coach that coaches a lot of contractors that use FieldPulse. But anyways, he made the connection, and it's been on from there.
And we really like that way. Everything we do is we try to do is very organic. All of our business comes from partners referring us, other businesses referring us, and so the fact that a customer referred us together, that's it just speaks to what the market needs.
Yeah.
And we see it as a more organic relationship. It's like, man, you guys do really good at what you do. We do really good at what we do. Let's combine. So it's been a great thing. So
well, and since I'm on the partnerships team too, for me, getting those kind of like, introductions, to certain other platforms, it's almost like going into it, I feel slightly more comfortable on whether it's going to work or not. Because we have to hunt, we have to find, we have to reach out to these softwares. And there's always kind of like, whether it's imposter syndrome or not, there's that little thought in the back of my head where I'm like, if this is like, will this be like a failure? Like, will the integration, like it'll work, but just nobody will use it? And then, my management team or whoever's going to be looking at me like, why'd you do this? Having like a customer kind of bring this, like gave me a little bit of confidence coming into our initial conversation anyway. Cause I'm going, we already got somebody who's like posting in groups about how he wants this to work out. He loves us. He loves you guys. At a minimum, we'll have one super happy person. So it gives you a little bit more of kind of like this is going to be at least all right.
It shifts your mindset a little bit because you go into that partnership instead of like being so focused on vetting, you go into that partnership a little bit more open-minded.
100%.
And so, if you can get a warm intro at all. Organic.
Yep, grass-fed, pasture-raised.
Exactly.
So obviously you guys, integrate with several other FSMs, and we've completed the one with FieldPulse. We're getting ready to, it technically is live, but the formal announcement, all the corporate stuff is coming soon. What have you guys learned and improved from those other integrations and partnerships that you think will make the FieldPulse partnership even more powerful?
Well, this is super awesome because you're getting all of our success we've had over the last 4 years doing this to come in and go, these are the integrations we absolutely need. Before, when we built the first integration 4 years ago, I didn't even know what that meant, to integrate software. I didn't even know what it meant. And this home service guy was like, hey, let's build an integration. And I was so confused by it. And then he was like, oh, we could do this. And then like a few weeks later, a month later, he'd be like, well, what about this? Let's do this. And we kept adding to that integration. And we learned what home service companies need. When and where do we need to follow up with leads? And when and where do we need to say this? And when and where do we need to say this? When do we need to stop follow-ups? All these really important things we learned. And so when we come over here to you, it's like, let's just build it, what we know works. And we don't have to go through this months and months of learning curve. So we're coming into it with hundreds of millions of dollars of data to build the right follow-ups at the right times.
Yeah. And I'm excited to grow with you guys too. I don't know if I've actually said that out loud to you, but I'll say it now. I'm really excited
You've
because
said it out loud with your actions.
Yes, thank you. Organically. But I am really excited because one, I think the integration is going to make a lot of our customers happy. But two, technically speaking, we are kind of in just like a V1. So it's like, what does V2 look like? What does V3 look like? I know you guys have AI coming. It's going to be really cool to see, like, here's the first stage of success. Then we went a little bit deeper. Here's stage 2 of success, and being able to see it grow. I genuinely believe we can.
And that's what's cool about automation is you don't have to do all of them. You can start with what we know works right now. And then everything we've built has been from a customer saying, hey, what if it did this?
Yeah.
I need it to do this. And it's like, oh, cool. And we discover different ways to automate. So we'll do the same thing here.
And I want to give your team a little shout out because we're excited about it too. But one of the reasons I'm excited about it, besides I believe that FieldPulse is a awesome FSM, is your guys' team has been amazing to work with. We move extremely quick at Chirp. Some people can't handle that quickness. A lot of people can't handle that quickness, but you guys have been on top of it, and that helps a ton because when that partnership is aligned, like he said, we know the different triggers that we're going to need to use through FieldPulse to be able to automate follow-up for your contractors to help them convert more leads. And so we're going into this.
What we're learning there is anybody can build software, and it's becoming easier and easier to build software. It's the people behind the software that really make the company go. And it's really refreshing to see another company that is a focus. So there's too many greedy, like Silicon Valley type softwares that are just like, burn it as much as you get it out there, and then just get as many people into contracts as you can and just burn through and it's like, I've always focused as an entrepreneur. That's why I didn't do any traditional funding. I bootstrapped the business. I did all these things because I built it as a way to say, hey, I want to provide a service. The software is going to be the tool, but I want to provide a really good service and team for the people to be able to take advantage of this cool technology. So
for sure. So kind of one of the last questions is, what would you guys say you're most excited about in terms of partnering with FieldPulse?
Like I said, we didn't come into home service, but it wasn't our intention initially to come into home service. And so those initial integrations weren't really like partnerships. They're just open APIs that we tapped into and we made it work, right? This is the first time where we're working hand in hand with a field service management company and saying, hey, let's grow together. Let's serve your customers, you serve our customers, let's make it happen together. And that to me is really exciting because it's alignment.
Yeah, for sure.
That is exactly what I was going to say.
Word for word?
I mean, maybe not word for word, but
just
pretty
help
much.
save you time.
This is our first like buttoned up FSM partnership. I feel like we're super aligned, and I feel like we work well together. And anytime that happens, you can move quick and make moves.
Yeah. If you couldn't tell just from how the last 2 days have gone, we're very excited, and we're excited and see what we can do, especially where we might get to go together in 2025 for actual physical events and how we're going to get together. So it's really exciting.
Very exciting.
So what's next for Chirp? You got anything exciting that you're building in the background that you can hint at? And I think I've kind of already said it.
Yeah, so AI obviously is a huge
everywhere.
Thing. We have AI already. You can use AI to have conversations through text message within Chirp. So after hours, if somebody texts in, you can have it be trained about everything about your business, your hours, what you offer, all your stuff, everything. So you have a fully trained CSR in AI that can respond to questions after hours. You can even have it during the day if you want. We have like carpet cleaner, just give an example, a carpet cleaning company that will take a lead from Facebook, have a conversation, ask it, how many rooms do you need cleaned? Do you need pet treatment? Like all the different,
generic questions you need for the job.
And even if you ask it a very detailed question, it will respond very professionally, and then it will book that job. Now, so that's AI. We call that external AI. AI that's pointed towards your customer, where they're having communication. The other AI we are working on is internal AI, where we are analyzing the success of campaigns, making suggestions, saying, hey, based on all the data we have, it might be better if you said the text message more like this, and helping you create more effective follow-up campaigns based on actual data.
Yeah.
Days of the week that it's best to send out a message, times of the day that it's best to send out a message. Like we're focused on like really helping the contractor continue to convert more leads.
Yeah. That's sick. Can we expect you guys at any trade shows or events?
We're at them all.
Every single one of them. I mean, maybe not every one of them, but
what are the notable ones?
You got Nextstar Super Meeting, you got Certain Path Partner Jam, Spring Jam, we got Lennox Live coming up, we've got Rilla coming up, we've got Rhino X coming up, Home Service. I don't know. I could go on.
There's too many to count.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, we'll be on the lookout and hopefully attending one of those with you guys, for sure. So we can do stuff together. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Ryan. Thank you, brother. Justin.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Brother. Appreciate it. Anybody listening, if they wanted to get in touch with you guys so chirp.com with 2 I's, CHIIRP, book a demo. The key is to book a demo because we're consultative. We want to make sure that this is going to be a fit for your business. So go to chirp.com, book a demo. If you want to reach out to either of us, Ryan at chirp.com, Justin at chirp.com, you can reach out. We're on Facebook. We are very social. We want to meet you. Reach out. But yeah, we're here to serve you and make sure that you're making more money and that you're getting an ROI. So let's do a consultation and see if it's going to be a good fit.
Yeah. And then my cell phone number is 385-285-9496. And then if you're interested in learning about some of the mindset stuff that we've talked about, we have a podcast called Win Your Mind, Win Your Market. It's not a Chirp podcast. You're never going to get pitched Chirp on there. We built it specifically to help people win in business and life through working on their mindset. We're bringing on some of the biggest names in the industry, Chad Peterman, Aaron Gaynor, Tommy Mello, and
Gabrielle Pinchev from FieldPulse.
Exactly.
Gabe, I should have said.
Exactly. And we're bringing them on and we're talking to them about how they're using their mindset to elevate in life. And it's got some really good stuff in there. So if you're interested in listening to the podcast, Win Your Mind, Win Your Market.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.